So I've entitled my sermon, What's Love Got to Do with It? Now for those of you who've been around as long as I have, you would realize that that's the title of a famous song, sung by a lady called Tina Turner in the 80s. But in this case, it's got nothing to do with the famous song, and everything to do with how we conduct ourselves and what we do on a day-to-day basis when it comes to each other, and how we interact with people around us in our secular lives and in our spiritual lives. I use a story of a fragile man walking with a trolley at Pick and Pay. Picture this. He's in his late 80s, or middle 80s. Still got some black hair between the grey. He's walking with great difficulty because of his knees. But there's sort of a smile on his face. And coming up behind him is a middle-aged man. And the middle-aged man greets him. And he smiles, turns around and sees the man, and they sort of awkwardly hug. And there's a conversation that takes place. And then there's a hug again, and the middle-aged man walks away. And if you looked at his face as he was walking away, there's a sort of glimpse of sadness as he walks away. So as I walk away from my dad, I think, of all our history together, the times I've disappointed him, the times he's bailed me out of all my messes. And then I always think about how I was criticized, how critical of him I was, despite me pointing a finger at him. And I think, you know what? I need to pray for my dad. I need to pray that he will be on the sea of glass with me when we stand there all together. So think of that for a moment in your daily interaction. A short interlude, a short, brief discussion. But there's like a tension there as well. How many times in our daily lives does that not happen? All things that are not solved, things that are not said. And one of the things I wrote here is that I really silently pray that I can be a better dad to my son. And that I can learn from the past mistakes, but also from what my dad taught me. And I really hope that happens. But that should go further than just the father-son relationship. It should go to our daily interaction with our people around us, the ones we love around us, our wives, our friends, our family. So on this beautiful Sabbath morning, I'm going to try and look at what love really is, ultimate love. Love that survives all pain, sorrow and misunderstanding, the jealousy and bitterness we sometimes feel. Sometimes the heartaches. But besides that, the joy that love can bring. And that love really should start with the people around us, those we can see. Because that love for God that we always talk about is much harder. Because remember, we don't see God. And we are out of sight, out of mind type of people. So let us at least start, like we did a dummy run with the YouTube. Let's do a dummy run on those around us. Let's see if it works on those around us. Those small things that we do to make people's lives around us better. Those small words we say that does not hurt, but makes people grow. So the Bible says real love is something you are able to see. And the picture I drew for you at the beginning shows a type of love. For a father for a son, and a son for a father. And you'll see it in the works that people do. You will see it in the fruit of the Spirit, as we always say. But most of all, you will see it in their lives. You will see love for even people that they don't know. And the strangest thing is, with all the media around us, I'm going to speak about media in a moment, with all the media around us, there is so much hate more than love. And Satan is really, really using social media well. I'm going to ask some questions, but first of all, what I would like to do is, if you could turn to your Bibles to Psalm 31. And I'm going to read the whole Psalm 31. It's 24 verses. I'm going to read it slowly, because I want you to think, while we're reading it, what is David looking for? He's looking for something specific here. So let's read Psalm 31. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. In you, O Lord, I have taken refuge. Let me never be ashamed. Deliver me in your righteousness. Bow down your ear to me. Deliver me quickly. Be my strong rock, a fortress and defense to save me. If you are my rock and my fortress, therefore for your name's sake lead me and guide me. Pull me up out of the net that they have hidden for me, for you are my strength. Into your hand I commit my spirit. You have redeemed me, O Lord, God of the truth. I have hated those who take heed to lying vanities, but I trust in the Lord. I will be glad and rejoice in your loving kindness. For you have looked upon my affliction, and you have known the troubles of my soul. And you have not given me over into the hand of the enemy. You have set my feet in a broad place. Be gracious unto me, O Lord, for I am in distress. My eye is consumed with grief, yes, even my soul and my body. For my life is spent with grief, for my years with sighing. My strength fails because of my iniquity, and my bones have wasted away. Because of all my adversaries, I have become a reproach, but especially among my neighbors, and a dread to all my friends. Those from outside who saw me fled from me. I am forgotten as a dead man, out of mind, and I'm like a broken vessel. For I've heard the whispering slander of many. Terror is on every side. They've plotted together against me. They planned to take away my life. But I trusted in you, O Lord. I said, you are my God. My times are in your hand. Deliver me from the hand of my enemies and from those who persecute me. Make your face shine upon your servant. Save me in your loving kindness. Let me not be ashamed, O Lord, for I have called upon you. Let the wicked be ashamed. Let them be silent in the grave. Let the lying lips be put to silence. Let the lips speak arrogantly against the righteous with pride and contempt. Oh, how great is your goodness, which you have laid upon those who fear you, which you have prepared for those who take refuge in you before the sons of man. You shall hide them in the secret place of your presence from the plottings of man. You shall hide them in the shelter away from the strife of tongues. Blessed is the Lord, for he has shown his wondrous loving kindness in the besieged city. For I said in my haste, I am cut off before your eyes. Nevertheless, you heard the voice of my supplications when I cried to you. O love the Lord, all you his saints. The Lord preserves the faithful and fully repays a proud doer. Be strong and let your heart take courage, you who hope in the Lord. Amen. May the Lord bless the reading of his word. I use Psalm 31 for this because it's a lesser known psalm. People will not always use Psalm 34.
Psalm 91 in there.
Well, that's the point, Clyde, because a lot of it, if you go through the notes and you see the cross references in the Bible, David is actually referring to quite a number of other texts in Deuteronomy and some of the other Psalms as well. For instance, if you go look at Psalm 31:8, is actually a reference to Deuteronomy 32:20, a direct reference. Okay? Also, verse 11 refers to Jeremiah 20:10, Lamentations 2:22, and Matthew 27:1. And all of these things really is David praying, in some sense, the Torah. And we must remember that when we look at Psalms, there's a lot of reference to what he's praying to. But in Psalm 31 specifically, the word that comes up over and over for me is loving kindness. So, at the beginning of the reading I said, what is he looking for? He is looking for loving kindness. And is that not what we seek every day? A kind word. Somebody to understand. But here's the thing. We are quick not to understand. So, to break it down, in the first 5 verses of Psalm 31, the psalmist bows before God, the Father, and around that request to be accepted by the Father's presence, he says, "Let me never be ashamed." So what is he ashamed of? Well, when you study and have a closer look, he's actually ashamed to show love. He's hiding. He's actually in hiding. Right? And here's the thing. David wasn't a, how would I put it? He wasn't a shy man. Okay? He wasn't a man adverse to showing things. He was the guy who danced in front of the ark. Okay? Much to the dismay of the Lord. But in this case, he was ashamed. And he's ashamed because he has been the cause of people not showing him the loving kindness. So, further to that, I was looking at certain things around what Satan is doing around making us ashamed of love. And I'm not talking about the physical stuff that's out there, but more around the church and the spiritual side of it. I don't know, I was 2 years old when this happened. I'm not going to ask Clyde how old he was, but in 1965, there was a gentleman called Paul Harvey who penned and broadcasted a famous poem called "If I Were the Devil." Anybody heard that one? Okay. So it's actually a poem that he broadcast as a prophetic message to America. But it's actually a prophetic message to today. And in there, part of it, he says the following, describing postmodern Christendom as it stands today in 2008. He says, "If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed." That's 1965. Okay. If you go read the whole poem, it's actually a broadcast on YouTube as well, which he did. They've got it on YouTube. Go listen to it. It's chilling. It really is one of the most chilling things you can listen to. Because the poem also describes the media, what is coming. And remember, at that stage, radio was the biggest thing around. TV was sort of coming into its own, but it was still black and white. But the things he was describing is what has long ago already come to fruition. But this specifically is Satan's last onslaught on humanity. And for most intents and purposes, this has happened. Systematically, Satan has taken over our love and replaced it with his point of view. It's been replaced with materialism, criticism, jealousy, and communities that base their spirituality on a man-made creed. And I'm not just talking our specific denomination that we were part of, I'm talking all denominations. Because everything is driven by a creed. So that creed becomes what people believe. to the third and fourth generations. And like the Roman Catholic says, give me a child at a young age and he will be a Catholic for life. Well, to a certain extent, I think the rest of the world in their church and spiritual beliefs the same, although most of our children walk away from the church. And we've got to ask why. And I would venture to say this one, it's because of lack of love. It's because what they see the adults do out there. So effectively, Satan no longer sits in the front row of the church anymore. It's the adults that sit there now, and our children have left, or off, totally switched off. People are no longer, and especially the men in our society, no longer take charge of being the head of the house. But please don't misunderstand me. Head of the house doesn't mean the woman is second. In my house, that's for sure not so. I'm definitely third after the dog. No, but there's an equal, God created man and woman equal, just with roles to play in that partnership. But Satan has really done away with that and gotten people into a situation where things like feminism has really started to overpower the real function between a man and a woman. And that loving relationship actually gets good. We were talking about it when we were driving here. It's sad what is happening out there. If you watch American television, the things that are said, things that are being taken as politically incorrect, are things that 20 years ago would not have been politically incorrect.
Gender problems.
Yeah, people taking offense. The police is now playing the advocate or the decider of what is politically incorrect. So Satan has changed our view, and obviously one of the things that has happened is there's been an over supply of media. We've got the DVDs, we've got the books. There are so many religions out there. I know Marianne, for instance, has got a vast library of stuff. Okay, but there's so much out there, and what do we get out of it? There's a lot of interesting things, but do we grow out of it? Sometimes I think yes, sometimes I think no. Some of the things we don't even watch. But every single person who puts something out there through the media defends it. And I think of ourselves as well. We tend to defend immediately if somebody says something that's not with us, we defend. We're out there and we push back. So we and our children are going through a media overload. As you can see on the screen there, it's how people feel. So quite a famous quote here. I don't know if you've ever seen this video. I'm going to play it for you. Okay. Please bear with me. It's based on The Sound of Silence by Simon Garfunkel. But at the end, you really see what it says. But this is what's happening at the moment. Katy Perry, who I really would not hold up as a virtue of example, made the following comment. She said, "I wish there was a thing like the Sabbath. A worldwide day we're not on our phones, an actual day of rest." True or not? Okay? Is there an actual day of rest? No, very true. So we've become overloaded in media. We're all on our phones the whole time, and I'm right up there in the front. Okay, so on a Sabbath, yeah, we're using our devices, things like that. And it really has become, I actually, 2 Sabbaths ago, I thought of putting everything off. But do you know how hooked we are on our devices? It is, Satan has really gotten hold of us there. And we think, yeah, talking to Clive, and we're speaking spiritual stuff, or speaking to folk in Cape Town, or Cedric, or whoever, you know, we don't do the Lord's work. But in fact, if you look at that, we're not. And Sabbath really, I remember so vividly the first time we discovered the Sabbath. Just the joy we had in it. Okay. For 3 months, I did not watch anything secular. And we walked in one Saturday evening after church at home, and I put on the TV, and a movie popped up. Now, we've been watching DVDs for months. Okay. And I was like a sponge. I was sucking everything up, all this stuff I'd never heard before. And I put the TV on, and this image flashed on the screen of somebody being shot. And it was like somebody hit me in the stomach. And I was like, I actually sat down, I was that shocked. Now, previously it would have no effect. But having been weaned off secular things for months, I literally, it was a shock to my system. Is it a shock at the moment? Yeah. So we are drowning in media overload, but also we are drowning in doctrine. The one thing, if you look at our WhatsApp page, the amount of doctrine, opinions, views on there is non-stop. And it's a good thing. Please do not understand me incorrectly. We all study at various degrees. We all study the topics that have been laid on our hearts, we believe. But sometimes I think the study needs to be switched off as well. Although it says prayer without ceasing, it does not say study without ceasing. Because there has to be a balance somewhere. There has to be a point at which you say, you know what, this is where I put my foundations into. Yes, we can grow, for sure. We can find things in the Word, gems in the Word, there's no doubt. But we must also understand that people are not on the same level or wavelength that we are. And once again, when we step back, we need to not get into fights with each other. The slide I've got on there is it was actually part of DVD, but I'm not going to play the DVD. But it says, the world is watching. Religious people fighting over doctrines. The famous Gandhi quote, you know, I like your Christian, but I don't like your Christian stuff. Is true. If you watch the amount of people fighting over doctrine, you know, leave us out. Okay, there's tons of it in America. But 2 Timothy 2:14 is very clear. Remind the people of these facts and solemnly charge them in the presence of God to avoid petty controversy over words, which does no good and, in brackets, upsets and undermines and ruins the faith of those who listen. Now, I know there's a lot of people who are going to quote me now, and I've got a lot of people sitting at home and writing me an email saying, you do know that doctrine is in the Bible and you're supposed to have the right doctrine. Please note what Timothy says. It is Paul writing to a pastor. Stick to the basics. Stick to love. When you want to bring a point across, do it in love. Paul, to me, despite being portrayed as a grouchy old man, I think he actually had quite a thing. He would be one of the people I would love to meet in heaven when we arrive there one day. Because there are a couple of questions I want to ask him, and one of them is, how on earth did you get around being so grouchy? Okay? Because that's me sometimes. So love like Jesus, 1 John 2. We'll get to that in a moment. Verse 7 in Psalm 31 says, and I will be glad and rejoice in your loving kindness. For you have looked upon my affliction, and you have known my sorrow. So he wants to have that loving kindness from God. Love and kindness. What about being scripturally correct and doctrinally sound, knowing the truth? Being God's people sort of automatically seems to lead into having the truth. And having the truth will mean people are going to join us, isn't it? That's what most churches believe. So, we're the remnant. We're spiritual Israel. We keep the Ten Commandments. We reject eating clean and unclean foods, or unclean foods for that matter. We don't smoke. We tithe to our respective churches. But why have we left? Well, for some of it has to do with doctrine. People will say, but you don't agree with us anymore. I tend to disagree with that view. My view on it is what the psalmist says, loving kindness. The church no longer has loving kindness. And despite everything, I have lost loving kindness as well. To be loving and kind to people is very, very difficult. And when Satan knows that's your button, he will push it repeatedly in your secular life as well as your spiritual. And we must understand, when we walk out of here, we go into a secular environment, and that's what's going to happen. We're going to have people that have not heard this, who are not on the same page as we are. And they might just press that button at that stage that triggers you. And you become less loving and less kind. The adversary has been more successful in bringing emotional pain, the kind of pain of the mind and heart, that is more crippling to the loving kindness than any physical pain could ever do. And because Christians have brought into the lie that the commandments and statutes and judgments have been done away with, love and kindness has been lost. With all that description around the statutes and judgments, it describes the love of the 10 Commandments. Think about it. The 10 Commandments are basically 10 words or 10 headings, according to the Bible. We have added in to make it a bit more readable or understandable. But the statutes and judgments actually shows the love of God with the blessings and the curses that come with it. And we need to know those things to understand what it is God really wants from us, but also what we can expect from our Father. So I've got a word on there. Olaf can probably read the Greek. It looks like he's sort of Greekish to me. Alright, it is agapetos. Okay, and I actually came across this while I was studying, doing a study for this. And it comes out of 1 John 2, 7, 11. It says, Brethren, I write no new commandment to you, but an old commandment which you have had from the beginning. Oh, really? The old commandment is the word which I heard from the beginning. Again, a new commandment I write to you, which is the thing being true in him and in you, because the darkness is passing away and the true light is already shining. The key to this whole text is the start. Brethren, do you know that this is one of the most discussed and studied starts of a paragraph in the Bible ever? Because this word, brethren, equals beloved, equals dear friends, and it's the very same word. And one of the only few places in the Bible where the word is used is where God the Father says, this is my beloved Son. It's the same word. Paul could not have used a more stronger word to bring people close, to show that loving kindness to these people, to say to them that you are my brothers, you are my beloved. Adrian's book, My Beloved, also I think refers to this in one of the chapters. He continues to say, he who says he is in the light, those who have the right doctrine, and hates his brother, is in darkness until now. He who loves his brother abides in the light, and there is no cause for stumbling in him. He will not become a stumbling block for his brother. Doctrine will not do that. The love that you have, the love that you show, will open the door for God to speak to that heart. But he who hates his brother is in darkness and walks in darkness and does not know where he's going, because darkness has blinded his eyes. And then people start to just look at the doctrine and look at the teaching. And that is the only thing. It becomes a habit, and a very bad habit sometimes. Now, once again, let me restate. Studying doctrine is not incorrect. All I'm saying is that we have to be careful in how we portray ourselves when we're talking about doctrine and what we are bringing across when we teach. Because remember, the teaching comes from God, not from us. And there's no way certain of us can teach the way we teach, because God doesn't teach that way. The whole of the first four Gospels show how Jesus taught. And I just sometimes look at myself and I go, that's not me. I'm not teaching that way. I'm not doing the correct things. I'm not living up to the standard that Jesus has set for us. But that is a very critical piece of Scripture when it comes to teaching. Just something else also. If you go further in the scripture we read, sure. Let's read. Yeah. Yes, the lying vanities. He speaks about lying vanities in here. So when is love not found in somebody? When they speak lying vanities. And I thought, what on earth is lying vanities? The text before says, love is not found in whispering slander. So have you seen, have you heard, have you said? That is when we gossip. But even worse, lying vanities, which the only other place I could actually find was in Jonah. And went to Jonah and I had a look at what was Jonah spoke about lying vanities, the book of Jonah. And it says, they that observe lying vanities forsake their own mercy. Really? But I will sacrifice unto thee with a voice of thanksgiving. I will pay that I vowed. Salvation is of the Lord. And the Lord spake unto the fish, and it vomited out Jonah upon the dry land. In the New King James it says, those who regard worthless idols forsake their own mercy. But I will sacrifice to you with a voice of thanksgiving. I will pay what I have vowed. Salvation is of the Lord. So the Lord spoke to the fish, and it vomited out Jonah on the dry land. Where else does the Bible speak about vomit? There's only one other place. Revelation. Okay? Now think of it. Why is this whole thing about the vomit? Why did the fish not just open his mouth and Jonah walk out or swim out? Why was there a vomit involved? What was the issue with Jonah? Did he want to go to Nineveh? No. Absolutely not. He was going the other way. Okay? Was his heart in his mission? No. Was there loving kindness towards the folks of Nineveh that was about to be obliterated? No. Was he right to feel the way he felt? No. Maybe. Maybe he was. Okay? But it definitely wasn't if you look in terms of what the Lord had given him to do. So there was no loving kindness in his heart. So he was vomited out. He was lukewarm and vomited out. So that draws across into Revelation, into the church of Laodicea, which we so proudly wear as a badge. I would definitely not like to call myself Laodicean, although I am. And we always say the church is now in the Laodicean state. But it is especially because of a lack of love and kindness. And that is the reason why the church gets vomited out. The blind, the having everything, etc., 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 that's quoted in Revelation, quite correct. But take it a step further and understand who those people are. They're not just blind, wretched, whatever. They also don't have any love or any kindness. And I did a couple of things on the further displays on more. 1 Peter 8:4-8 says, above all, keep loving one another earnestly, since love covers a multitude of sins. Love covers sins? That's what an interesting comment to make. So, the less love you have, the more sin you have. Think about it. It really is difficult. Love is not easy. Clive, how many words for love do you know? There's agape.
No, there's
Eros.
Eros, storge is for child.
Storge, yeah.
And
Phileo.
Phileo.
So there's 4.
Yeah.
There's actually 5. I've got another one that's
No, I had one where, and I've lost that material. There are 4, but there are 3 subdivisions. It's like the 10 Commandments, and these are
the statutes and judgments.
Yes. Yeah. Man, I don't know, I lost that.
We'll put them
And
in
I tried to Google it, I've tried my best, I can't.
Alright. So, just to get back to lying vanities. Lying vanities then obviously speaks to this whole thing of not having love. And if you're not, you're going to be vomited out. Just part of it is when we speak about Revelation specifically, it says, you say, I'm rich, I have grown wealthy, and in need of nothing. But you do not realize that you are wretched, pitiful, poor, blind, and naked. And we do this arrogantly with no love. We do it with pride and contempt, no love. We do it with plottings of man, there's no love. Through the strife of tongues, there's no love. Verse 21 of the Psalm says, blessed is the Lord, for he has shown his wondrous loving kindness to a besieged city. Jonah. Okay, he's referring to Jonah. For I have said in my haste, I am cut off from before your eyes. Nevertheless, you heard the voice of my supplication when I cried to you. Oh, love the Lord, all you his saints. The Lord preserves the faithful and fully repays a proud doer. Proud doer of what? Loving kindness. Be strong and let your heart take courage, all you who hope in the Lord. So as we are coming into the season of Passover, a lot of us are new in the whole celebrating of the Holy Convocation. Some of us have been keeping it for a while. And I want you to think about what we are saying this morning. About the love that Jesus had to come to this earth and die on that cross for us. There was no loving kindness at that cross. There was only bitterness from the people who persecuted him. Each and every one of us will be given an opportunity by the Lord to be faithful as a doer during this Passover. Referring to Deuteronomy, there's a saying that says, therefore you shall love the Lord your God and keep his charge and his statutes and his judgments and his commandments always. And consider this day that I do not speak with your children who have not known and who have not seen the chastisement of the Lord your God, his greatness, his mighty hand, and his outstretched arm. The Lord is calling on us to love him and our neighbor. That agape might not be reciprocated by the person, but know that it is seen by the Spirit of God, and the Father will preserve that love. We all hope to be even restored one day. And I firmly believe that the tree of love with the leaves that are there to heal the nations is a tree of love. Because the only thing that will heal is love in that sense. And I've always wondered about it. What is it that needs to heal the nations? The animosity, the hatred of each other. The only thing that really can heal is love. And those leaves, I don't know what they contain, but will heal the nations. And there's a healing process to take.
Well, I mean, there's David and Uriah.
Yeah.
Both in heaven, but
Saul.
They've got to resolve it.
So, Then off, I'd like to show you a photograph. I know we've spoken at Molly Ann on the Friday night about it. But this is history. This is what happened when people believed that the Lord was coming at a specific date. Please note we do not set times the Lord will come. But this is history, and this is what happened in 1843 and 1844. Millions, literally millions of people in Europe and mostly in America had gone through a revival since the early 1800s. There was about an 18 to a 25-year period that the Word of God was preached throughout the country. In that time there were wars, and in that time a lot of things happened that were really, really bad for people. Satan was trying his very best to refocus people. But despite that, a lot of people started to understand Scripture, and the light started to come on for a lot of people. And the Bible became the most read book in a period of about 40 to 50 years. People studied throughout the country. And then the great day was going to arrive. A prophecy was made, a prophecy was studied, a prophecy was analyzed. And the Millerites and many other people through America had come to a date, the 22nd of October, 1844. After in 1843 they realized there was a problem with their calculation. They came to the 22nd of October, 1844. And this is the day in 1844. This is one of the few pictures that are there. Of course, the newspapers were all abuzz about these mad people going to heaven. Because there were a lot of people obviously didn't believe. But these folks had for months, and literally for years, well, in the last months, given up everything. They'd given up their houses, their farms. They prepared, they've gone around to make right with people all the things that were wrong. And I read to you from a newspaper article that's part of a document that was written. And it says there, as for the Advent leaders and believers, a sense of awe and solemnity was upon them. There was no great excitement, no shouting. They realized that they were about to meet God. The following article was entitled, "Take Heed to Yourselves." My dear brethren and sisters, we are in a solemn hour when temptations will beset us. Take where we are today. We're preparing for the coming of Christ. A lot of temptations. We are in great danger of letting our business and labors in warning others to occupy our hearts and minds, that we shall forget ourselves. Redeem time for secret prayer at any sacrifice, and maintain the spirit of prayer in all your labors. Beware of being drawn away from your duty to yourself by exciting labors for others. Satan may tell you, and tell you truly, that you have not done your duty to your friends and neighbors and your own family in past times. But your duty of yesterday you can never do. And your first duty today is to see that all is right between yourself and God. So before you go out, this was written down in 1844, and they were warning people, make right yourself and God first before you try and make it right with others. Because people were going out there and trying to call for forgiveness with people who had no idea where they were coming from. And they were being thrown out, chased away, and things like that. And it broke people's spirit, because their hearts were not right with God before they went there. They could not absorb the negativity that came back. People not accepting their apology, their love. It was thrown back in their faces. It says, till that is settled, you may labor in vain for others. Don't run away from your first duty today, which is getting right with God. Because you've neglected your first and second duties today, when you go into the company or go into the world, guard against the first approach to levity, but maintain a settled joy in God. Study the Bible much, especially those parts which are most heart-searching. What do we need to study? Those that search the heart. That is good for your heart. Live out your faith, and your lives will preach. That comes from the newspaper Midnight Cry, 10th of October, 1844. At that time, the Midnight Cry ran issues for 3 days in a row. This appeared on the 12th. How important it is that we should meditate on His coming, that it should be the subject of our nightly prayer, that the burden of our morning thoughts and the theme of our noonday conversation be there. It should occupy our sleeping and our waking hours. How solemn the thought that the Lord cometh. These words should be in our hearts continually, and we should teach them diligently to our children. We should we should talk of them when we sit in the house, when we walk by the way, when we lie down, and when we rise up, and when we are about our daily occupation. So on October 11, 1844, it was written, these folk felt the impress of the Holy Spirit in their hearts. There was nothing in his counsel to incite to foolish or fanatical acts. They were speaking about Miller. Or give any license to them. In the same issue, Joshua Himes wrote this to our readers. We feel sensible of our many imperfections. Whilst we have contended for what we believe to be the truth, we can see that pride of opinion and self have arisen upon those who've got the truth. We ask forgiveness of God and all men for everything which may have been inconsistent with His honor and glory, and we desire to lay upon ourselves upon His altar. We lay our friends and our worldly interests and trust alone in the merits of God and Christ's atoning blood, through the efficacious and sanctifying influence of God's Holy Spirit, for pardon and forgiveness and acceptance at the Father's mercy. May the blessing of God rest upon all of us, that we may all meet in God's everlasting kingdom. This is the prayer of your unworthy servant. And just below the statement which I am signed, Southard added, I heartily join in the prayer and confession expressed by Brother Hein. So the express message out of this, and I want to take that period, forget who they were, that period, and when people were preparing themselves for the Lord, the leaders of that organization and the many organizations that came through said, do not go out there and lord over people because you have the truth. Do not go out there and try and force people to believe what you believe. Let your life be and do the preaching for you. Because that means God is in your heart and the love is in your heart. So when we're sitting here today, and everybody who is watching, think about that. Really think and ponder, and read through Psalm 31 again. Because the Lord wants us to know that His express message to us is, make your heart right with God. Speak with love. Avoid fanaticism. And as always, pray. So, what has love got to do with it? Everything. Prepare for the coming of Christ. We pray that He soon comes. Pray. Our loving Father in heaven, we thank You for the opportunity to have expressed through Your word a knowledge, Lord, of love. Lord, we ask that You really be in our hearts and soften them towards each other and towards our brethren and to those who don't even know us, Lord. our lives, that they may be an absolute light, an impression of who you are. We have got so many failings and things we need to fix. But Lord, we know with your guidance and your counsel and your word, those things can be fixed. Make this Sabbath a truly blessed one and a praise to yourself and to the Father. And Lord, we sincerely pray for your soon coming, for healing and for peace of mind. And we ask this in the mighty name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was very good. Very touching.
I don't know if you know, there is a song that says the following. Do you know, a Christian, you're a servant in shoes? Do you know the world is watching all that you do? So you walk it and you talk it, and you are his servant in shoes.
Amen.
That's lovely.
That's so nice.
And